Here we go, Hagen. Happy Wednesday. So hope you have your sunshade shadies and some sunscreen. 'Cause it's very toasty outside on this beautiful Wednesday. Coming to you live from the Sad Lamar Studios. You have the RO streaming, because there is no
Streaming.
without us.
Teaming.
Two teamings? Okay.
I said streaming the first time.
You didn't say building.
Oh, I didn't.
Oh,
because
nice.
streaming and teaming is more of a rhyme.
Nice. We'll get it next time. It's our first time. How are you, Hagen?
I'm good. It is hot today, but you know what? I took the car that had AC today, so I wasn't as hot as I normally am. Yeah.
For
That's
those
the long sleeve shirt.
For those that don't know, Hagen doesn't have a car that has AC for the
I
last
do.
3 years.
I had two. One does
But
not.
he doesn't use it, so
Because we can't take too many miles on it, so it's a whole
it's a
complicated
whole ordeal.
scenario. Yeah.
I'm glad you got to have a cool car ride.
Mm,
With the little things.
it is. It really is.
Well, beyond the little things, what big things are you working on in R&D?
Well, there's a lot. A lot of the big things just kind of ended for us.
Oh.
So we're finding new big things to explore.
Like what? Can you share some of
Well,
these?
let me first go back. We had the Hilti Robotics Challenge that just
Oh,
ended.
yes.
If you haven't seen the announcement, that was last week's episode. We had Todd win on. Congrats again to Vanessa Miller, our grand champion.
Go Vanessa.
It was Hilti who chose her idea as the big one, so that's very exciting. And then we had the RO champions, if you will, Nick Vargo and Natalie Sandoval. So congrats to them as well.
Clap, clap, clap.
Clap, 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 yeah. And we still have the AI construction powered challenge
That's right.
going on until June 30th. So get your ideas in. Yeah, plenty of time.
Of a new idea today.
Did you really? I
Yeah.
thought of a new idea as well.
Wow.
Yes, we might have conversed about that idea. Who knows? But beyond that, I mentioned the ideal client stuff a couple times ago. So we're looking at, kind of the clients we've had really good relationships with and why we had good relationships with them. We're kind of trying to do a data-driven approach to that. That's kind of a big thing. And then James Donald Holmes and I,
Our Donald Holmes?
our James Donald
Oh, my
Holmes,
goodness.
we will be venturing up to Dallas tomorrow.
Ooh, road trip.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Meeting with Todd and just seeing the folks up there and seeing if there's anything we can do to help them. So
Nice. That'd be fun.
it will be.
Car ride with James, like
Oh my gosh,
Game-
6 hours with him.
getting
It's gonna
con-
be crazy.
Yeah, it's like getting con candy at a fair,
Yep.
local
Hate
fair.
it.
They won't start at a parking lot.
Anywho, what do you got going on? What does RO have going on?
Kind of comes we got some cool numbers this week.
Did we? I love
I'm
numbers.
gonna read them off so I don't mess them up.
Okay.
One of the most exciting ones that ENR. You know what ENR stands for?
Mhm.
You do? You want to share?
Entertainment news? No, I don't remember.
Engineering News Record.
is that
So
it?
the ENR Top 400 has ranked RO number 144 nationally.
Nationally.
So this is kind of interesting if you think about it, because if you know, RO is regionally operated only in Texas.
Right, we only build in Texas.
Well, the fact that we're ranked nationally, that's kind of a big deal, Hagen.
Bad. Awesome. He wasn't ready with the bleep.
He was
button,
not
so I
ready.
didn't say
He's
that.
dealing with new technology.
No, yeah.
But yeah, so that was pretty cool. A fun few other ranks that we saw was the 2023 Dallas Business Journal has RO ranked number 14 as a North Texas GC.
Nice. Okay.
14
That's
in
pretty,
Dallas.
all right. Sweet. That's
And then
pretty
guess
awesome.
what we're ranked in Austin GCs.
Number one.
Close. Looks like if you miswrite it, we're
Whoa.
ranked number 7 according
Dang.
to the Austin Business Journal.
That's pretty sweet. Wow.
So, and there's a few other rankings, so make sure you check out our social media.
Oh, it's on social media. Okay.
But I think it was worth sharing.
Absolutely.
Congrats to all of us, because that's
More claps. More little clap.
more claps. Hey, clap, clap, clap. I don't know if others doing clap, clap, clap. That's pretty cool. I mean, that just kind of showcases kind of what we do around here and how people,
And now we're doing well.
yeah,
We're
we're
successful.
rewarded.
Yeah.
So this is an RO award. So congrats to everyone.
Yes.
Keep up the good work.
Absolutely.
But that's pretty cool stuff.
Well, do you want to know more cool things? James Donald Holmes does, because it's This Week in History. Yay! All right, so I just lumped everything together. So these things happened this past week, these past 7 days until June 8th at various years. I'm not necessarily going to say what dates. So this past week. In 1504, Michelangelo installed his great work of David Do you know in what city it was installed?
Rome.
Close. Well, actually, I don't know how close Florence is to Rome, but it's in Italy. You're in the right country. That's all that matters.
You were asking for a country. Okay.
Well, no, I was asking for the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's close.
Yeah. In 1777, the Continental Congress approved the Stars and Stripes as our national flag.
Nice.
Exciting. 1939, we take a big leap there. The first players were inducted. We had the first induction ceremony for Baseball Hall of Fame. We had 3 gentlemen inducted. Do you know who those gentlemen are? I know you love baseball. One of them has kind of a candy bar named after him.
Oh.
Snickers.
Reese's.
No. Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, and Honus Wagner.
Honus Wagner.
Yeah, there you go.
If you had given me one more second to answer.
Right, you would have gotten all 3.
Yes, I appreciate more time next time.
Okay. 1981, Indiana Jones, the first movie, comes out in theaters. You know the name of that one?
The Roller Boulder.
Yep. That is the first scene. But 1991.
You know what it's called?
Raiders of the Lost Ark, yeah.
Of course. Everyone knows.
The Blasto, of course. Mount Pinatubo begins erupting. Do you know what country Mount Pinatubo is located in?
I don't know which country, but I think it's in South America.
It's in the Philippines.
Oh.
But yeah, it was 600 years since it was like a 600-year dormancy period, and it started like internal erupting. Yeah. Well, it wasn't like a boop. It was more of like your tummy started growling kind of thing. This one you'll like. 2002, Serena beats her sister, Venus. Do you know which Grand Slam it was at?
You said this happened around this week, June-ish?
Yeah, I did say this past week in history. That is the name of the bit.
So I would guess because it'd be the French Open because that just ended last Sunday.
You are absolutely correct. Wow.
Here's another pop question for you.
Hit me.
Because the turns have tables now.
Do they ever?
What's the record between Serena and Venus? And who has won the most?
I know when they first started, she was the top dog.
Older
now
sister.
It's switched. But I want to say Venus is still above Serena. I don't know the actual record.
Give me a number. Or 2 numbers, really.
5-4.
Ooh, Serena leads 9-3.
Oh, I was way wrong. Okay. Moving on. 2002, American Idol debut. 2002.
2002?
Yeah. Do you know who the first winner was? I think you do.
Oh, I want to say, well, since you've been gone this whole morning,
Oh my God, that was
I want to say it's Kelly Clarkson.
Wow, look at you. So clever. 2009, the UN hosts the first World's Ocean Day, and that's actually 2-day. World
Day?
I could be wrong. I also heard on the radio it's National New Mexico Day. I don't know why
Maybe
Mexico has a
days.
national holiday, but who knows? And in 2010, the World Cup opened in South Africa. And do you know how many times the World Cup had been held in South Africa prior to this?
More important question, do you know who performed in South Africa?
I don't want to use that. I had a little clever bit, but I didn't want to say it because it was Shakira, right?
It was.
Okay. I'm not going to say it. I'll tell you later after the show. It's pretty funny. But it's the first time it's ever been held in Africa.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was very exciting.
Do you know who won the World Cup 2010?
Spain?
The producers.
Yeah, Maine won. Spain?
Yes, those are correct.
Yes, I'm getting a lot of nods from the 2 soccer fans. Excellent. I'm going to RO real quickly. 30 years.
30 years?
I think his name's Alan. Do you know an Alan Codina? I've never heard of this guy.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, I know.
Must be a newbie.
I think he was on the show a while ago. Yeah. 30 years he celebrated this past week at RO.
Congrats, Alan.
That's
Clap,
crazy.
clap, 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 clap.
And then 16 years, our own Veronica Emmons.
Oh, she's out this week, so she'll have to rewatch us later.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah. And then lastly, real quick, moving on to this one project. In 2020, the family office headquarters up in, I believe it was Dallas, in the Dallas area. It's a flagship 5-story office building, their first office building for a high-profile family. Keep them confidential. 30,000 square foot parking garage, 22,000 square foot office space, and a 7,400 square foot car showroom.
Wow.
Gives you a tiny insight into maybe who this family might be.
Yeah. Honda.
But yeah, the Honda family moved to Texas. So perhaps there's some images of that, and there are some. I'm getting a confirmation. Yes. So
Can you see it right here?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It really is.
Yeah.
Quite beautiful. But that's it. That's all I got for you and all of you for this past week in history.
And then keeping on with the hand motions, now it's
Yes.
time for the building around the world segment.
Sure.
Inspired by my recent trip, I figured I could give you some fun airport construction
Oh.
news. And I know you traveled to this city many times,
2 weeks ago, yeah.
but I don't know if you knew that the Denver airport has a 4 billion update happening right now.
Did make sense because there was a lot of construction stuff going on when I got there.
Yeah, kind of full fun. A few fun facts about this. In 22 there were close to 70 million passengers traveling to this airport alone.
Really?
It covers about 52 square meters, and not always developed, so they definitely have some room to grow. And I don't know if you know, but this airport is known for many of its controversies, from like spooky murals, blue horse with the red eyes. But
What is it called? What his name is?
Lucifer.
Lucifer. It's creepy.
It is creepy. It is kind of spooky looking. Kind
You
of
know
cool
the
though.
story behind him?
I didn't want to bring bad juju to the
It's
podcast.
kind of bad juju. So yeah, we'll refrain.
But speaking of the actual upgrade, it is expanding its capacity to accommodate more passengers and flights. Because I don't know if you've been on the line for security. It's a long line.
Oh my God, it was. You're right.
It's always
it was
long. There was one
super
time
long.
I was there. I like the adrenaline rush. I was there only like an hour before my flight,
Mhm.
but the line went all the way to the bathroom. My heart was kicking. So the airport's looking to add 39 new gates and 3 new concourses. And it's supposed to be energy efficient and sustainable.
Sweet.
So this expansion project should be completed in 2024. So hopefully next year.
Pretty new. Yeah. We'll take a trip.
Oh,
It's grand
dude,
opening.
Dude, let's go.
Okay.
Just the airport.
Yeah, just the airport.
Go in, go out.
Check out Lucifer.
Day trip.
Yeah.
Take a selfie with Lucifer.
Or we could just do a layover there. That's even smarter.
Oh, let's do that.
Okay.
We'll talk after the show.
Okay, sure.
One fellow person who might use this airport is our guest today.
Oh,
I think he's a very good known traveler.
Oh, he is.
He's a very special guest.
Of course. The Ontario.
Some people think he's America's sweetheart.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think he might think himself too. So I don't know if you know, a few fun things about him. From Austin FC to Liverpool to NBA. Except don't ask him about the latest game because he's not happy about it. We have a real sports aficionado and football fan in the house.
That's good because James is a huge football fan too. So that's some great conversation.
Well, I mean, you know what they say. Football is life.
Of course.
So, he's a foodie and a groovy fella who likes long walks on pursuit beaches. So, you can find him on the back of the office, on his new office. He loves good Latin cycling classes. So don't be surprised if you see him tapping that foot or busting a move to Rosalia or Bad Bunny.
Oh.
Do you know this artist?
I know the latter, yeah.
You heard it all last weekend, I think. So, fun fact. But thankfully, I've had the honor of working with him many times, and I can't wait to see what he has to say. Miami might have Mr. Worldwide, but we have our own fireball hotshot in this room. So it's my honor to introduce Mr. Nelson Sanz
Yay, Nelson.
after this commercial.
The AI revolution is here. It's happening. It's not coming. It's not next week. It's not next year. It's here, now, today. But we're going to help you learn how to use those tools to better your workflows.
At RO, we're starting the AI-powered construction challenge. And during this challenge, we want to get ideas from y'all on how we can leverage AI tools to improve any and all aspects of your day-to-day routine. You can use tools like ChatGPT,
Bard is another one powered through Google.
DALL-E, another open AI platform that generates images for you.
One of my favorites, Midjourney, another AI image generation tool that does some incredible things. There's a lot of use cases for this too, aren't there, Hagen?
Oh, there's plenty, yeah.
You can go through whether you're making meeting minutes or perhaps trying to write an email. Are there any examples you know of that could help people out here?
You need help starting an RFI. I know I use it a lot to help me write some simple programming functions and things in Excel, the more complex formulas.
Almost anything you can imagine that uses written language, there is going to be some bot out there today that can help you do it better. So we're going to go in, we're going to talk about some of those tools, showcase how you use them, some of their benefits, downfalls. And we look forward to seeing what you put together into the AI-powered construction challenge.
Taco Bell? No, it's not one of your food favorites.
So now that you've been introduced to some of
That's
these
surprising. I would've,
chatbots, let's
thought someone
discuss
like
how
yourself with your
they're
high taste
actually
would find a
built.
Taco Bell to be like a go-to.
Always been more of a Taco Cabana guy, I guess. So.
Fair enough. Mr. Nelson Sanz,
Hi,
thank you so much for making your way over from the other side of the office.
all the way down.
Yeah, it's
the other
funny.
end.
Some of these folks are making it in from Houston or Dallas. It's a 3-4 hour drive, and they show up for this hour of talking. And you have the benefit of just
Punch in my code a couple times to get all the way over here. but
all through 2 doors. Well, thank you so much for cutting some time out of your very
course.
busy day to hang out with us, and
Pleasure to be here.
look forward to letting everyone know a little bit more about Nelson, a little bit more about pre-construction. I know we had Max Kogan on a couple months back, but other than that, we haven't had anyone from that realm.
Yeah.
A lot of ops people. Somehow VDC gets a lot of rep time, a lot of screen time, but I think there's a lot to be learned on that front. But we'll dig into that here shortly. First question for you, sir, is what do you love about RO?
Oh. Well, number one, and obviously it's the people that I get to work with on a daily basis. You know, I didn't know that when I started here, but that's become the number one reason for sticking around. I need to move this a little closer. Turn it. Hello? Better? Okay. Yeah, the people. I mean, the people are great. And I love how RO makes a serious commitment to investing in their people, and really developing folks, not just in kind of the technical aspects of what we do, but kind of a well-rounded, whatever soft skills or whatever we want to call it, like that. There's just so much of an investment on that I've personally benefited from tremendously over the last, almost 12 years. And I love how, I said this in the RO Connect video, I love how they support you. If you want to do something, you say this, this is the direction I want to go, or this is a project I want to take on, or a department I want to create. They fully support that and give you the resource and say, yeah, go, do you and find ways to bring value and all that stuff.
I think in the modern day, that's the only way you can hold on to good employees.
Yeah.
There's too many opportunities to go make crazy money doing X, Y, or Z, whether it be in construction or elsewise.
Yeah.
There aren't that many employers that are willing to trust their employees enough to say, hey, you know what? You want to do that? You think it's a good idea? Okay. We're gonna empower you. We're gonna give you our corporate level of resources and all of our institutional and domain knowledge and let you run with something. And that's just such a rarity.
Yeah.
But
it's great. I mean, it definitely, when leadership talks about those things, they mean it, right? There's real backing to it. So
for sure.
Yeah.
That's the people. That's we're just gonna someday take a clip of everyone just saying the people. It's gonna be like an hour long of just people saying the people. That'll be fun. That's for some other date. So what is your current role at RO? Those that aren't familiar.
All right. So my current role title is pre-construction director. So I'm in the pre-construction department. It is different than director of pre-construction. So Tim still heads the Austin San Antonio pre-construction team. But it's kind of, so functionally, it's sort of, think of it as like a project director in operation. So you're kind of at a level where you're handling multiple projects and you're serving as more of the day-to-day contact with the owner. Still mostly on the pre-construction side. I'm much more involved on the pursuits, kind of that sort of the business development strategy behind going after certain type of projects and developing those relationships with the owners, with the design team early on, and serving as that main point of contact throughout pre-construction as we head into operations and that transition to building the job.
So there's obviously a lot in there.
Just said a lot of words. Yeah.
Done going on. If you had to kind of break down as normal of a day to day as a human can have in the AEC industry, what does it look like? You come in, are you on the phone all day just soliciting bids, or are you hammering out emails about contracts and stuff?
Yeah, no, there isn't really a typical day. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons that I was drawn into pre-construction to begin with, is so much more dynamic on being involved on the front end, from putting together conceptual budget. Somebody's got roughed out a floor plan and said, I want to build a 400,000 square foot office and this many floors and this is the height, blah, blah, blah. Just kind of, what do you think this costs me on a, per square foot? Kind of doing that stuff. And so there's that aspect of it. There's, again, like the technical stuff. And there are days where you're just in there, you are kind of working in drawings, putting together budgets or bids or whatever it is, and doing your quantity takeoffs and calling up trade partners and say, hey, I need some help. Can you give me can you take a look at this? I need a number next week. Kind of doing a lot of that. But again, my day-to-day involves a lot of on the pursuit side and championing those pursuits. So it's working with marketing, it's working with VDC, it's working with Ash and the quality team, and kind of all those parts and pieces putting together. So there are days where I feel like I've touched 3 or 4 different projects and feel like I've accomplished absolutely nothing. And then there are days where I just kind of, put my headphones in and just grind out some work and, just kind of reset a little bit. And so it's pretty varied.
You mentioned the kind of whole pre-con approach to things, working out those numbers and figuring out just order of magnitude, how much things are going to work out to be, and pulling those groups together to get the critical bits of information is kind of what pulls you into pre-con. What is it about that you find so interesting? Is it the opportunity to sculpt how a project gets built? Is it more on the working with people and seeing some organizations or companies' needs fulfilled? Or what drives
it's all of that. It's all of that. I mean, being on the front end very early on, you do get to impact and influence a lot of those decisions. Owners, trying to figure out what works for their budget, what's the best, what's going to be the most effective use of a space and all that stuff. So you're analyzing, constantly looking at multiple options, at a point where it's easier to do if they're still, if you're 6 months from the substantial completion and they're still thinking about options and all that, then that's a little bit more complicated, right? But so yeah, I like that. I like that, seeing those things evolve from this early idea and this vision and kind of working through all those hurdles and everything. So I love that. And again, just being able to piece all the different components together that you get to do. That's kind of where that's the most pleasure I get out of it, and where I thrive is in working like that, collaboratively pulling all these different parties together.
Which makes sense. You said it's very similar to a project director on the operations side of things. Just it's on a condensed timeline and slightly less committal, I suppose. What do you think is the most underappreciated thing that happens in the pre-construction process?
Oh, underappreciated. I mean, I guess, I think, there's a funny word. So I love that you're saying pre-construction, right? Because I think traditionally in the past, estimating is a word that gets thrown around, and I feel that's a very narrow kind of sort of definition of what we're doing. Like being on the front end, we're the first line of defense as we're managing the risk on a project, right? We're looking for things and saying like, okay, the way this is being built, and again, we're working with the quality team, constructability is like, hey, there's this detail work. Like, what do we need to put in the budget to make sure that all these parts and pieces and stuff are covered, managing our risk, our contingencies and kind of stuff like that. So I don't know if that's underappreciated, but it's more than just counting, right? Counting and plugging in a number and like pencil whipping together a budget, right? Like it's thinking through all those things and really working through how something's going to be built and put together, and pulling in, hey, on a past job, we got killed in these units where we got the exposed decks and had to grind all those things before we could float them and all that stuff, and like, hey, let's make sure that on the next one we're accounting for that and caring enough so that we're setting up our operations teams to win. Right.
Gotcha. So a lot of just kind of almost that the comprehensive approach of pre-construction, not the fact that it's not just rounding numbers off and figuring out.
Yeah, I say holistic, right? And I get told this kind of maybe a little bit of a corny way to put it, but that's really what it is. It's a multi-pronged approach and trying to get to just building that foundation for the success of the project.
It's very Austin of you to call it holistic. I love that. It's beautiful. And whenever I said undervalued, I was just thinking of what people may not be as aware of.
I think for sure. Like there, a lot of times when we're getting ready to go to GMP and we're bringing in some ops folks to help on that, and they see a small snippet of what we do and kind of think, oh man, that's brutal. I would never want to do that, right? I think there's, I came up through operations. That was my previous life, so having that experience is crucial for being successful in pre-construction. I also think it would be great for a lot of our operations folks to have a little bit of experience in the pre-construction, the estimating side, and kind of seeing how that all goes together would be a benefit to them as well. So
for sure,
both ways.
Some of those folks that are hanging out on the bench for a couple of months waiting for their project to start. Why don't you stop by?
Come get a taste.
Yeah. You mentioned being out doing operations type things prior to your current role in pre-construction. Yeah. Was that with RO? Is that somewhere else?
No, it was pre-RO. So my career path is kind of unique.
Take us through it a bit.
Okay. Well, I was born in Miami. Anyway, so I went to MIT for undergrad because I was good at math in high school, and everyone said you should be an engineer. All right, cool. I didn't know what an engineer did really, but I went and I realized kind of, partway through that it wasn't what I didn't want to spend time working like in a lab or, in academia. Right. So I kind of ended up on a path. I'd done a couple summer co-ops with W.R. Grace doing construction product testing on different concrete admixtures and all this other stuff. And I said, oh, that's construction. I could go work in construction management for a few years, and then I'll go to business school, and then I'll figure it out. And so I started with Turner Construction in Boston. Stayed there for 6 years. Kind of started out in the field, and then things kind of went a little sideways with the market, and ended up doing estimating. I was moved into pre-construction. I was an assistant estimator for about a year and a half. So I got a taste of how that all worked. Then I went out, I did a couple things, was on a big project at MIT, did another couple jobs, and decided I wanted to move into the special projects or their interiors group. So I asked for that move. I went in and kind of worked my way up as a project manager for TI work. Moved down to Austin in 2007 to follow my now wife, Sandra, who'd come down here for law school. Came with Turner, and just, kind of between Austin and San Antonio, did a bunch of different things. Eventually we parted ways, and I ended up at RO. I knew Alan Cadena. Happy 30th, Alan. And he brought me in. He said, this is an opportunity we have. Let me know what you think. They needed somebody to do BIM work, VDC, for Third and Brazos, for our first multifamily venture here as RO in Austin. I was like, well, I've never worked in that kind of stuff. I've never even done CAD, but sure, I'll figure it out. So I went up to Dallas, got trained in Revit, did the whole structural model for that thing, used it for coordination, for all this stuff. And that role lasted about a year before Chris Sheng was brought in to really kind of grow that department here in Austin.
So you predated Chris with the VDC stuff in Austin.
By over a year.
Wow.
Yeah. So at that point then, it was like, all right, that was a fun little dalliance. and then we didn't really know what I wanted to do. I thought let's give pre-con a try again, because I enjoyed using that part of my skill set, that kind of the analytical part, and that I remembered doing that, and I thought it would probably be the right fit for me here. And that was end of 2012, start of 2013, and here we are 10 years plus later. It kind of, I guess it worked out.
I think so.
Yeah.
You're here, and you're saying you like the people you work with, so
Yeah. I think they like me, most of them.
most of them.
So
Let's not do a
yeah.
raise your hand thing here.
Yeah, right.
That is
Yeah.
a hell of a ride.
Yeah. It's like lots of little stops of picking up tools for the tool belt, right? Like just like I'm not going to model anything right now. I'm not going to get in there and run a coordination meeting, but I know enough about what it takes to do that, and kind of like what the VDC specialists working on a job with me during pre-con is going through, and what kind of stuff they need, and like what we can actually pull out of a model and when we can, and kind of stuff. So like knowing that, I feel like I'm glad I had that in my.
Yeah, I think there's that that Dunning-Kruger curve, and you have that first valley where you realize you don't know anything. And I think the more areas, subject matters you can get into the bottom of that valley on, the better off you're going to be as a whole.
Yeah.
You can't master everything, but if you can at least understand the challenges and capabilities of that thing, have an awareness of what it can and can't do, that's going to pay huge dividends for you, whether it be something work related or personal, or construction, engineering, banking, whatever.
Right.
More kind of that breadth of knowledge allows you to analyze things from that holistic point of view.
That's right. Word of the day.
What did you study over at MIT? We're over there in course 6 or course 25?
Course 3. 3B, material science and engineering, which literally is the study of all the different materials and their properties and how applied. So it's kind of a mix of some mechanical, some chemical engineering, some electrical engineering, all those kinds of bits and pieces all put together. I liked it, or what drew me to that course was that it was a broader approach to things. Instead of super deep dive into one topic, you'd kind of like get the surface, but picking up again just a broad sort of exposure to all sorts of different things. Whether you wanted to get into, at the time when I was leaving, and since then it became more of a focus on like biomaterials and all that stuff. But you could pick up and then do whatever you want. Sandra was also material science. Course 3. Yeah.
Did you two meet at
MIT?
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And now she's a lawyer, right? So she's kind of like, but you take that engineering approach to problem solving, to everything like that. That's something again, so glad I have that.
And that's one of those skill sets that transfers over to every role, every position. If you're an analytical thinker and a problem solver, you're going to be able to figure out whatever the title may be, identify those weak spots, find ways to resolve them, or at least be aware of them, work around them, theoretically.
At least know how to approach the problem, maybe solve it, but
And that's half the challenge, right? It's just knowing what is the problem.
Yeah.
How often do we look at something that's not going well and say, oh, the problem is the delivery didn't get here on time. Well, why didn't delivery get here on time? Well, because nobody told them when to get here. So it wasn't a problem with the delivery or with the delivery company. It was a problem with communication.
Yeah.
But so many folks will just stop at that first layer and say, oh, that's what it is. And you go through that 5 why process. I can't remember where I'm taking that from, Six Sigma or Toyota or whomever it is. But you go through that and kind of take that engineering mindset to whatever issue you encounter, and you've got a much better chance at figuring it out than a person who kind of takes a surface level effects and says, well, I guess that's our issue. Let's fix that and it'll be good. MIT. That's a beautiful campus up there. What's that river?
Charles
River.
Yeah. No, it was great. Like, I'll tell you, MIT was hard.
I don't think anyone needed to. We assumed that as much.
Yeah. It was a grind.
It's not like these Texas, UT state school kids.
It's not a party school. I mean, good times were had, but it was hard. But yeah, the community there is also it's it's not as cutthroat as like you would think a place like that would be. Like everyone wants to kind of work together and be a team and kind of help. So
Do you think those experiences somewhat shaped your approach to leading people and managing and all those types of things?
Yeah.
Where you are today.
100%. Yeah. I think one of the, I think back about that time and kind of what some of the challenges were, why it was so hard for me. It was kind of not knowing how to ask for help, how to get help, right? So I was in there and I was just like, it's a fire hose, right? And they're just like inundating you. And I was so overwhelmed. I was like, I just got to get through this and kind of like get into it and work through it on my own. And that was the complete wrong way to approach it, right? I never knew really how to ask for help. And so that's like, I've taken that lesson and I want to be able to, in anyone that's working with me or, anyone else on the team, like, do you actually get it? Do we actually know what we're doing? Like, am I clear? Are we like, do you understand where we're going? Where do you need help? Like, how can we, and like really find those opportunities where somebody either doesn't know that they don't know or is afraid to confess that they don't know and ask for help, but kind of knowing that and offering that mentorship and that opportunity for teaching and helping them grow. So yeah, that came from that.
Wow, that's
yeah,
beautiful output of that university. Even if it wasn't necessarily the course of study, I think that's something that you're probably not going to go teach material science classes and pass on your knowledge
I'm
there.
not. No.
But you can't take your
No. It was the 2 semesters of Italian and the social psych class that I took that got my GPA up to a respectable. It was not the engineering classes, for sure.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Schools, those East Coast schools are interesting.
Yeah.
So what do you like to do for fun? You're an MIT grad. You're from Miami. You're living in Austin, from Boston.
Yeah.
You have a wonderful attorney of a wife. Where would people catch you guys out on the weekends, on the down days?
Man, we do a lot of eating and drinking. Like, so might be a brewery during the day or at House Wine doing a wine tasting thing and then wherever, any number of fantastic Austin restaurant dining options that we have, Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday, an early dinner somewhere, but it's a school night, so we can't stay out too late. But yeah, no, other than that, I mean, we like to be somewhat active. I mean, we're not like the craziest, most insane active people, but we're out there, go for a walk or run down on the trail and by the river, the lake, whatever you call it. Do our Peloton rides and workouts like Bruno alluded to. Yeah, we just like to be out and doing stuff. When we get a chance to, the travel is something, we actually since COVID hit, we haven't done too many big trips, but we got one coming up in July that we're excited about. So just to get back into that, because I apparently had that reputation. Like,
Bit of a globetrotter.
Yeah, and I mean, we did. It was mostly due to Sandra's work. She was traveling all over the place internationally, and so she had a super secret, crazy status on American. So like get upgrades all the time, and even got picked up. I like get off the plane, get picked up in an Escalade, taken to our next gate, kind of stuff. So that made traveling kind of pretty plush. It was fun.
Yeah, no one's gonna complain about that one.
No,
right?
No. So you get spoiled though. Once you fly international business class,
it's a different breed.
Yeah, tough to go back. So, yeah, I mean that's kind of it. We have a fair amount of free time like on the weekends. So generally also watching Liverpool games.
Say football
watching
games.
Liverpool games. Yeah.
Okay.
Those are plan my weekends around those.
Oh gosh, yeah, I'm trying to remember which one Alan was a fan of.
Yeah, also Liverpool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got some camaraderie building over those games occasionally.
Yep.
You mentioned going out, eating out. Sounds like every night of the week.
I mean, we cooked at home, and during the week, it's just more of a on the weekends thing. It's just the way of the world.
We have recorded, but yeah. if you had if you had to give some recommendations on restaurants, what would be like your top two?
I think pound for pound, Odd Duck is my favorite restaurant in Austin. I can see fans in the back. Yeah,
You're getting some cheers from the production crew over there.
Suerte is also one that I take folks to from anytime they come in out of town. Red Ash, if you want something so over the top and decadent and not in any way good for you, but that's a good spot to go. Man, I could think of so many, but shout out to Terry Black's.
Yeah,
best barbecue in town.
The barbecue? Is that?
It's been some years since I've been there. Back when they had the trailer here on South First. Yeah. Remember going there with Joseph Francis back when we were still doing some R&D for our future endeavors for the RO Prime.
That's right. We didn't even touch on that. I entirely forgot that you are like a key member.
I wouldn't say a key member at this point. I was there at the inception of it. I still serve on a consulting kind of arrangement. But Joseph and his team, and Harold and Nick and all those guys, they got it down. They're putting together some incredible events for hundreds of people.
For those that aren't familiar, what is the RO Prime? Do you call it a team, I guess? A RO Prime group?
Yeah, it's a team. It's a family.
Family.
It's an RO Prime family. It's our barbecue, our traveling barbecue setup where we do, events on job sites, topping out, or, whatever other kind of lunches and stuff like that, or also competitions, like the Austin, the rodeo barbecue thing, or the ABC, AGC kind of events and all that stuff. So Joseph spends a lot of time iterating the rig and kind of evolving to be able to produce I don't know how many pounds of brisket and ribs and all that stuff we go through on one of these events, but it's a lot.
I was gonna say it's a lot. Yeah, he opens up that grill there, and it's just, corner to corner stuffed with brisket and sausage and chicken and lots of beans and gumbo and all that. It's something else.
Cool.
Yeah, that's it. If anyone's out there that has not been to a topping out or rodeo or whatever event with,
you gotta go.
RO Prime team. Yeah, definitely. When you're also, if I'm not mistaken, you might have backed off the barbecue a wee bit.
Yeah.
But you are still a bit of a legendary kickball coach. Coach or captain?
I think I was more of a coach. I let Lily really captain that, but I was there to support her. Never want to take credit for that. Played a couple seasons, and then I just had to step aside for the younger generation to come up.
Come up, or they push you out of the way?
Kind of. They said, yeah.
So no. So we'll bat for you on this one
first. Yeah. We'll definitely listen to you.
Oh goodness, that's funny. It's fun to think about just all those. You mentioned the people and just the familial environment and all that. Like you think of all these things. It's like, it's not just the work environment. You know what I mean? It's not just in the office that it's family-like and enjoyable to be around those people. It's while you're out barbecuing. It's whenever you go to an Austin FC game. It's whenever you're playing kickball with people. It's people you want to spend time around, even outside of work, which isn't common in my past experiences. If you had to pick, I'm sure we'll get some dissenting opinions here.
Okay.
If you had to pick the best Austin festival, we've got South by, ACL, Fun Fest, Eeyore's birthday.
Never been a Eeyore's birthday. Never done that. No. Believe it or not, it's surprising. I would say my favorite probably is Food and Wine Festival. Again, going back to the just
they did it down on 6th, right?
No, have it like in the Butler Park area, Longshore Auditorium Shores area, I guess. I've been there a few years, but that one, man, you get You get to taste a lot of wines and other spirits and all that, and so that's a fun time. ACL probably also great. Couple years ago, one of the interns in marketing recommended that I get one of the little hydration packs.
Like a Camelback?
Mm-hmm. Yep, game changer. So now I know how to survive ACL at my age. It's hydration pack, liquid IVs, and Advil, and ice the knees when you get back home, and you can do it. You can do all 3 days. Yeah.
I've got this feeling, and maybe I'm off, but I feel like she was probably putting something other than water in the Camelback. Maybe. I think she,
We'd have to ask her, I guess.
Had to adapt to the user the contents of the package.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I've got to defer from you on that.
Okay.
I'm not convinced that people are enjoying ACL anymore.
Oh,
It's been years.
it's gotten too big.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the 2 weekend thing is weird. I didn't love that move, but it felt less crowded, right? Just because of that, maybe. So that's probably not the worst thing. Again,
Yeah.
and when you're in a certain age demographic, the less crowded, maybe the better. But that's
I don't think you're that much older than I am.
be surprised, man.
We can discuss
Drink a
that
lot of
later.
water. Drink a lot of water.
Hey, out of that Camelback, keeping you alive. If you were given $100 million, cash, legitimate cash, no weird strings attached or anything like that, what are you doing?
Oh
I
man.
like how I gave you a list of questions and then we used
Yeah, no, these
three
are
of them.
completely
Yeah.
out of left field.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, I would donate 99 million.
Oh, you're just a sweetheart. After you're done lying to the press about what you did, what are you
Yeah.
gonna do with the actual money?
I mean, the travel, as much travel as we've done, there's still so many places in the world that I haven't been to, and you get to spend you go a week, 10 days in Italy, and you hit up, you're in Florence or Amalfi Coast and Rome and all that, and you're not really like living it, right? Like as much as you try to, as much as you want to not do touristy things, right? You're not want to be able to like live it.
and you almost need to have a contact in country, like someone that can
Yeah,
help you around to some
Yeah.
degree,
yeah,
because it's tough to. I mean, I think of just if you're to drop me off at a random town in Texas, told me like go somewhere that isn't the tourist spot, I'd be like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
Denny's, I guess. I don't know, like what. I don't
Yeah.
know what's here.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The things that are the tourist type of attractions are what is well known. So to your point, like trying to go there and actually experience like what is an actual day like
Yeah.
down in Sicily? Like it's tough to do if you don't have someone to be like, oh, like this is the farmer's market we go to and grab food, and then we go home and spend the next 8 hours cooking up gravy for the macaroni. So it's kind of it's tough to do on a short time scale, and especially without that connect.
Yeah. So that would probably be, just the freedom to go wherever we want for however long we want.
Do you have, Miss Sandra, have any bucket list places that you're like,
Oh,
we
yeah.
got to get there?
Tons. I mean, I would say a couple trips that we've been talking about doing. One is, this one's on her list, and we were trying to get it together last year and didn't. So still on the list is Egypt. She always wanted to go do that whole experience. And then go down to Mendoza in Argentina also.
Yeah.
Spend that time just, again, the wineries and all that stuff. It's a common theme, just like to drink wine and eat good food, right?
With Egypt, you guys trying to go to Cairo and the pyramids and all that, or is that more of a-
Pyramids, right? One of those cruises down the Nile, different places.
go.
I don't even know. There's so many things to do, but
That's I've never been, but I'd love to go. It seems like one of those truly breathtaking experiences. I hear people say like, "Oh, so you go see this? It's breathtaking." I saw this, breathtaking. It's like, is it really though?
yeah.
Like, did you actually gasp? Like, were you actually like,
Yeah.
it's like laugh out loud? Be like, how many times do people actually laugh out loud when they type or say, "I laughed out loud"? Pretty sure it's less than like 0.5% of the
Definitely
time.
not all the time.
No, almost never. But I would imagine like seeing those pyramids, it's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
that humans built?
Wild, yeah.
Like without cranes? What? Allegedly without cranes?
Humans. Allegedly humans.
Yeah, God, now I'm trying to remember who it was that we had on. We were talking about that not too long ago. Anybody? No? All right. Well, sorry to whomever that was. Talking about pyramids and humans building them, or how they got the, I think it was down in South America where they got these blocks to fit together perfectly. You can't fit a sheet of paper between them, but I can't remember who that was.
Tolerance in that.
No, none. Yeah. Really good pre-construction team,
That's
right?
right.
They really set the expectations, and then the ops team held them to it.
Yep.
Which, coming back to some of your more work-related things there, whenever you go through and you have this project you're pursuing, and like I said, you're on the front end with the pursuit effort and the estimating effort and the constructability review effort is all this pre-construction lifespan.
Yeah.
Do you see the relationship evolve from that first time you talk to a trade partner about a project up until the point in time where they're collecting their last check and punching out?
Well, one of the benefits of pre-construction is everything is really happy. They're all our trade partners are, everyone's going in the same direction. They want this job to happen. They're willing to help and do whatever we ask of them, and say, hey, price this job 4 different times, and they're changing their mind again, and they're all like, we have really good partners, and we need that. We need those relationships. Like, we need that information. We can't do this on our own, right? Once you actually get to building the job, like, things don't always go perfectly smoothly, and that's a different, I know operations lives in that space, and that's kind of, it's different, all sorts of different challenges. We pride ourselves on the pre-con to operations transition not being like, hey, toss it over the fence and, good luck with that. We're working with them. It is more of a attempted to be a seamless transition. But the trade partners, that we're working with, and on their, on their front end, their estimators and all that might not be the same ones on the job. And there's always going to be miscommunications and all that stuff, and everyone's got to work through that. I think we have a reputation for treating our trade partners well, and for the most part, they want to continue to work with us. But every job has its challenges. We're getting constant feedback through the ops teams in the PSS meetings, or with Alan coming and meeting with us once, monthly or every other month, to just kind of report out on who are the ones that are doing particularly well, that we really should be trying harder to get more work with, and make sure that they're looking at our stuff and all that, and ones that, hey, maybe they're struggling a bit for different reasons, capacity or whatever it is, or challenges in management and whatever, and maybe we need to just kind of pump the brakes a little bit with them. So it evolves, it changes, and we get constant feedback that then helps us set up operations with the best team possible to start.
If there was one thing that you'd like to see the trade partners change during that pre-construction process, what would you most prefer to see them change? What would be most beneficial for them to change or adapt to, or consider while putting together their bids and all that?
Yeah, I mean, I that's a tough question. I'd have to think about that. I would say one thing I'd like, for a lot of them a lot of them are aware, and they even they say, look, we know that we're just budgeting, and any help you need, you guys are always on your top priority for us, and we're always going to come out and help you. Some folks give us a number, and they expect like an award right off of that. Like, hey man, that was a DD budget. The job never happened, or we competed for it, we didn't get it. Like, I'm sorry, you don't get 100% like reward just for putting a budget to something. So
nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah, those are tough conversations we sometimes have to have with some folks who get frustrated, and
I think we have a live studio question that we're going to hear from Dr. Hagen Fritz here.
Okay.
This is from Bruno CS. He asks, what project win has been the most memorable?
Oh, wow.
Most memorable project win. And with your 10 plus years at RO, that's I feel like you've 10 really good years, I think, too, at RO. I mean, think of we've had student housings, hotels, data centers, chicken farms.
Yeah, chicken farms. I didn't work on that one. That's someone else's silo. No, I think if I had, like, this is a weird one. It's from so long ago. It was the Domain 8 office with Endeavor, and I just remember that one being what really kind of like ignited the fire on pursuits for me, right? Of going in, and it was like they sent out basically CDs, like, was ready to build, bid it, but knowing that they were over budget, and then going in with the approach of, all right, these are the numbers we got, like, let's figure out how to save you a bunch of money, and let's present that, and let's go through that. And it was the first time I remember that kind of service and approach being the differentiator that got us a job. And it was an important one. It was, first one, as far as I know, with Endeavor, which then we've done.
Really?
Continued to do, repeat work with them. And Don Bullock over there still talks, about that stuff. Like, he wants his pre-construction done that same way every time, because he remembers what we did back in 2015, right? So that was the one that really just kind of, I think, set me on the path of trying to figure out how to be more strategically involved on pursuits, and how to, how to bring real value. Again, it's not just reporting to an owner, this is what the market says this is worth, right? It's thinking through about, like, how best to help them win, right? How to make this job a reality, and sometimes budget's a real competition. We got to figure out how to get there. So that one.
Main 8. That was is that a Braylon and Kennedy?
Braylon and Troy and
Troy. That's right.
Yeah.
Man.
Susan, I think, was on that one.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's was tail end of that one whenever I came on board. So I had to go walk through it and see the beautiful handiwork of everyone. Beautiful building. Very cool. Well, I think we've time for
any more questions.
I really have 2 more.
Okay.
Are there any more questions out there on the
live?
We'll go 2 more.
Okay.
The first of the last 2 is: would you rather be remembered by everyone or remembered by no one?
Who would want to be remembered by no one? Like, who answers?
Who would want to remember by everyone?
No, but okay,
under
right?
Such
so
a microscope.
yeah,
like every fault you made would be analyzed and reviewed and discussed.
That's fair.
It's a lot of anxiety if you know you're going to be remembered by everyone, right?
Yeah.
But then you remember by no one.
Yeah, it sounds kind of sad and dark to not be remembered by anyone.
It does.
But I'd probably, I'll cheat and I'll say that it's somewhere in the middle, right? I'd like to be remembered by everyone that I've been able to have an impact on, right? So it's not absolutely everyone in the world. I don't want to necessarily have done something good or bad where everyone knows who I am. But it's important for me to know that I'm impacting folks, right? And whether it's just a teaching moment or just something, that they say, hey, that dude, like, he works hard and he knows his stuff, and is a high standard or something like that. Just, like, have that impact and be remembered as that would be great. I'd much rather that.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Not going to press any more for that one. Last question for you here, Mr. Sanz. If you have to give young Nelson some advice, what would you tell young Nelson?
Okay. First, I would say if it's blue and after midnight, you probably shouldn't be drinking it. And then the real advice, I'd say probably, again, going back to those, like, knowing when you need help and how to ask for it, and not being too proud to admit that you need help. that would have, if I'd learned that lesson 10, 15 years before I actually did, that would have been really pretty impactful for me. So,
And you still got to where you're at today. So just imagine where it'll be 15 years from now with 15 years of that knowledge behind you.
retired.
Well, Mr. Sands, this was, I had a lot of fun with this. I feel like we could keep going for another like 2, 3, 4 hours. Save for, maybe a restaurant
4 o'clock, but I'm good until then. So.
I just don't know how many people would listen to it at that point. Try to keep these to an hour. But thank you again for coming over. You gave us some fantastic insights to pre-construction and what that world looks like. And I learned about Nelson. That's what I've said it countless times. I feel like the luckiest person in RO because I get to spend an hour every week just talking to people and learning a bit more about them.
Cool. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks to everyone out there that jumped on board today. Next week we'll have Raul Olivas out of San Antonio on from 1 to 2 on Wednesday, as always. Get your AI challenge ideas in. That's going for another 2 weeks ish. I think there's like 4 or 5 of them. Those can be real short. This doesn't need to be anything elaborate. It should take you no more than like 2 to 5 minutes tops to get an idea in there. It could be something as simple as, hey, I use this prompt a lot. It saves me time. Or you could go to the other end of things and say, hey, I think we should have an AI-based camera system that tracks materials to prevent theft or something. I don't know. Go wild with it. This will be out on Apple and Spotify Monday morning. And words from Nelson: ask for help. Don't think you know everything. You don't need to. We know you don't know everything. Ask somebody
We're
for
on
help.
to you. Yeah.